Come on. Huh? Come on. 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 A Funky Friday, baby. Peace in the morning. A Funky Friday, baby. Peace in the morning. A Funky Friday, baby. Peace in the morning. Come on, y'all. Ow. Hey, give us a call this morning, 240-719-2560. It's the Peace in the Morning show. We talking politics today. The energy is high. That's right. There was one day this month, over 800,000 people voted. People are pumped, baby. They're ready to push this positive energy into the atmosphere. That's right. Come on, Funky Friday, baby. Ow. What's up, y'all? Give us a call, 240-719-2560. Or you checking us out on Facebook. Make sure you get us in there. Pull me up. I'll bring you in screen on screen. Come on. What's up, Trouble Funk? Holla at me. It's Friday, y'all. What you gonna do? Ow! What's up, y'all?
Don't test that stereo.
Y'all know this is my jam. Peace in the morning, baby. What's up, y'all? Come on, kick it. Here we go. It's up to that Kunta Kinte Festival crew. Hey now. Come on, y'all. Let me see you work that sucker to death. Come on, y'all. Get up from that cube so you know they know it's Funky Friday in the office. If you're in the car, get the Funky Friday groove on. Say what? What's up, Trouble? Here we go. Don't touch that stereo. Peace in the morning. Peace in the morning. Hey, what's up, Lisa PGD? Oh, here we go, here we go. Come on. Ow. Funky Friday, baby. Come on, y'all. It's time. We're going down to Charlotte, North Carolina, Hamlet, North Carolina, for the John Coltrane Music Festival. That's right. Come on. Here we go. Oh, work that summer to death. Come on, y'all. It's Peace in the Morning, baby. Come on, get up, make that body move. Time to make it work. What's going on? Hey, Morocco, I see y'all. Ghana, West Africa, peace in the morning. Ow. Come on, come on. We're talking politics this morning, baby. You got to go to work. People are tired of being sick and tired. They're taking a stand all over the world. Come on. Funky Friday, baby. Peace in the morning. All right, y'all. Hey, give us a call, 240-719-2560. Shout out to the ACT. Come on, y'all. Peace in the morning. We We got some positive news for you this morning too, y'all. Hey, Vox Wave having a family community cookout tomorrow. Y'all want to come on out? That's right, off road. Ho. That's what we want, that Funky Friday. Y'all want that Funky Friday. That's right, we want to thank Young Dylan for coming out on the Funky Friday show. That special edition at the Kunta Kinte Heritage Festival. Yeah, we ready to make that transition, y'all. But when we come back, we're going to be talking positive news. And then we're going to get into the politics. So give us a call or hit us up on Facebook Live. Because we going all the way, baby. Peace in the morning. Ho, ho. It's Funky Friday with Darius A. Stanton on the Peace in the Morning Show.
Say what?
What's up, Rapping Ron? I see you, boy. Hey, class of 88, we got a class reunion coming up. The Annapolis High School, Annapolis Senior High School, class of 1988. The great 88. Ho, 88, 88, 88. I think that's November 30th and December 1st. The last weekend and first weekend of December in Annapolis, Maryland. Come on, class of 88. What's up with the two-step crew? Don't make me do it. Say what? At Funky Friday. Y'all ready to take it to the bridge? So early in the morning. So early in the morning. A Funky Friday. Hey, I want to say happy solar return to my god sister Kaisha. That's right. Kaisha down. And another happy solar return to the big brother, Troy. Brother Troy X.
Tired of getting up early, I'm working from 9 to 5. All I want is a break in life to show you how to really survive. I go outside, I don't see my ride. The man who was asking stuff.
All right, it's time to put that trouble up. You put it on the shelf. We're going to come back and get it in a minute. Come on now.
You learn in days like these. The bills are never ever paid until you pass away. The children play and the people say, and you got to make a move. But every time I try to change, the old becomes brand new. Now boogie. Say what? Now we know you want a boogie, baby. Now get it, boogie. Say what?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Ow, what's up? Ow, break it on down. Ow, what's up, what's up? Good morning. Peace in the morning, baby. This is Darius Stanton. We're live at VoxWave.com. It's Funky Friday, baby. You know what time it is. This time last Friday, we won the City Dock in Annapolis, Maryland for the Kunta Kinte pregame. That's right, for the festival, y'all. The festival was off the hook. The following Saturday, my main man, Ron, give Ron a big round of applause. The brother came on down, set us up down there at the dock. It was all pumped up and ready to go. We had young Dylan on the mic. He came through. Young Dylan is a tough young brother. Look him up, young Dylan Gilmer. The brother is doing it. Sharice Reese came through. Sharice Jones was in the house down there, did the Booed Up remix. She tore it up. Craig Dobson was on it. Man, I'm telling you, the festival was off the chain. And as a matter of fact, and that's probably appropriate because we are no longer chained, and we breaking, not only are we breaking the chains that we have in terms of slavery, but we are also breaking the chains on our minds. Years ago, I created a song called Shackles on Your Mind, Shackles on Your Mind, shackles on your mind. Your hands and feet, shackles on your mind, shackles on your mind, shackles on your mind. They must release me. Shackles on your mind, shackles on your mind, shackles on your mind. Behind the door, shackles on your mind, shackles on your mind, shackles on your mind. They'll hold me no more. That's right, we're not letting them shackles hold us, baby. But I'm gonna tell you something that really troubled me. You know, we deal with positive news, but one of the things that we have to address right now is the abuse and neglect of women. You've seen from the situations with the Bill Cosby trial, you've seen the verdict of Bill Cosby and, you know, the question about whether or not he dealt with all of those women, drugged all those women, sexed all those women under the influence. All of that's out there. But he went to jail, literally. The President of the United States was recorded saying he grabs people's women's crotches, does whatever he wants to do because he got money. He can do whatever he want to do. He was purported to walk in on the people that were in his dressing rooms in the Miss America pageant that he owned. And there are several different years where he just walked in at different times with women that were halfway dressed. Now you have Judge Kavanaugh, who lost his temperament, completely lost his cool, wants to be a Supreme Court judge, but couldn't stand the pressure of being on the bench, you know, having to testify himself. So should you put somebody on the bench in the Supreme Court that's going to make the determination of people's lives around the world, but in particular here in the country, who can't even stand the pressure of being accused himself? He lost his cool. So right there, whether he did anything or not harassment-wise to women, he lost his cool. And the other key thing to look at is, I don't know if you saw it or not, but the gentleman whose daughter, one of the gentleman's daughters, whose daughter was killed in the school shooting last year, was at the hearing early on, went up to Judge Kavanaugh. He was introduced in the crowd from the dais by Senator Feinstein. And Judge Kavanaugh, when he went to shake his hand, looked at him, turned around, and walked. Never shook his hand. The man's daughter is dying, and so he's now fighting for gun rights. Why wouldn't you shake his hand? So my point to you is we've got to address how we are dealing with, you know, women and the sexual abuse, and not just women, children, adults, you know, rape. We live in a society that's plagued by it. But one of the things that's truly challenging us right now, and it's devastating when you look at the research, Google it, the amount of African-American women that have increased in the prison population in America. How much do you think it increased? 100%? 200%? 300%? In the last 20 years, it has increased over 700%. 700%. Oh my God. And here in the state of Maryland, my understanding from a advocate for returning citizens, not just men but women as well, or in particular women, but also for men, shared with me that recently they had to provide the state's penitentiary with feminine products, maxi pads. So picture women being in jail and then only getting 4 rolls of toilet paper a month. Now, some people will say, well, they're in jail so they can just have to be treated any kind of way. They're still human beings. They're still mothers. They're still citizens of the United States. So we got to really put that into perspective. 700%. And then think about the number of women who are in jail because they were beat and they got tired of being beaten. They finally took self-defense into their own hands to protect themselves. And now they're in jail for shooting or killing or hurting somebody that's been beating them for months or years. Or you have women who were just caught up in the system and been on bail and bond, didn't have the money to support and fight it like other people do. And so then they're locked up, taken from their families. The money's not there. The care's not there. So I want us to really, we got to be mindful of what's transpiring. But I got to tell you, I went to an event last night in Annapolis, Maryland. Shout out to ACT Tony Strong, Reverend Karen Johnson, a number of other ministerial leaders, Pastor Stephen Tillett, Carl Snowden. There were a lot of people in the room, but there were over 1,000 people, and people were still coming. The meeting started at 7. It was crowded and packed before 6:30. At 7 o'clock, you couldn't find a seat, and by 7:30, people were still outside trying to get in, and they came in the rain. It was a candidates forum and over 1,000 people, not the Republican, not the Democratic, not any of the religions. They were people who were concerned about issues dealing with criminal justice, the environment, housing, the education, real issues, and they wanted to hear from the candidates. And if the candidates did not present something that they thought made sense, guess what? They're not voting for you, period. Over 1,000 people, that's tied to even more people, were making conscious decisions about whether or not they were going to be involved. So my question to you is, what are you going to do? For all the people who keep getting on Facebook and Twitter and all social media or just in your own personal lives that are crying and complaining about things, what are you doing? What action are you taking? Stop complaining. I see people criticize mayors and governors and senators and directors of programs. What are you doing? What is the solution? It's great to point out those things, but what are you doing about it? What action are you taking? The State of Maryland Legislative Black Caucus is taking action. We developed a 2030 agenda. We're developing a 2030 agenda that will be communicated, the draft of the summary, executive summary, on November 9th and 10th. That's the Legislative Black Caucus weekend in Annapolis at the State House on the 9th. Workshops all day. Yours truly is the power luncheon speaker. And then that following day at Maryland Live, that morning is Business Over Breakfast, and Dr. Randall Pinkett will be the speaker, the gentleman who won The Apprentice off of Donald Trump's show, and then called Trump out as a racist when Trump started running because he was directly tied to the show, so he worked directly with Trump. And then that evening, the gala at Maryland Live, the speaker will be April Ryan, and that sister's on fire, just put out a book, but she's the woman that was actually put out of the White House press briefing or challenged on the floor by the press secretary at that time. So 9th and 10th of November, the Legislative Black Caucus in the state of Maryland, we're talking education, environment, same key issues, to make sure we have an agenda, a strategic plan for African Americans moving forward in 2030. So listen, positive news. We got a lot of positive news for you. Just keeping on the voter tip. National Registration Day broke its previous record of 771,000 registered voters. Over 800,000 people registered to vote in one day for the midterms. I'm predicting right now here on the Peace in the Morning show that the 2018 midterm election will be the largest midterm turnout in history. And guess what? People are going to revolt that negative, HATE-filled, divisive structure that's in place right now, that mindset. People are coming together with energy, with solutions, with products, organizations, systems, investing money. Last night at the meeting I went to, not only did they come out, Not only did they pledge representatives to come, and I said my organization was bringing 25, another organization was bringing 100, another church said they were going to bring 150. They were bringing the people and then being accounted for. We have 165 people here. We have 75 people here. We said we were going to bring 50. We only have 35 people, but they were holding themselves accountable. But they didn't just bring human capital. They also put their money on the table. The pledge that they made this year, $2,000, $5,000, $1,000, $400. They also pledged for 2019. So they used the human capital and financial capital. And this was multiple religions. They did not allow people to get caught up on the party. It was focused on what are we doing in terms of coming together in our community. Another piece of positive news. Thanks to Baltimore Times for this story. Make sure you support the Baltimore Times because they promote positive stories throughout the state of Maryland. They also have the Annapolis Times newspaper, one of our media partners, and a young lady out of Baltimore City named Rihanna Fancy, a 9-year-old, excuse me, spent a lot of time in the library. And she said she wanted to do something to make a change because she had been dealing with so much negativity. So she traveled to Chicago and Nashville to promote The Cat That Wouldn't Go Away. And The Cat That Wouldn't Go Away, written by Rihanna Facey, that's F-A-C-E-Y. Go on and support this young sister. 9 years old, wrote a book about being bullied. And this cat that kept showing up at rough times in her life. Just kept showing up, kept showing up. You know, cats are really spiritual beings. And as a result of that, she wrote a book about it. So check her out, Rihanna Facey, F-A-C-E-Y. Definitely would be somebody that you want to support. Go check out her book. The book is called The Cat That Wouldn't Go Away. So that's our positive news. Oh, one more piece. Spelman University was just given a huge grant, I believe $5.4 million by the Walton Family Foundation. And the purpose of the $5.4 million is to create increased diversity in the museum field. Why is that important? Because we need to know our history. We need to be able to write our history. We need to know our legacy. We need to be able to understand the dynamics of what's happening and transpiring in our world. So shout out to the Walton Family Foundation and the Spelman College for being awarded this $5.4 million grant to increase diversity in the museum fields. So look, we're going to crank it up a little bit. You know it's Funky Friday. We got my main man Ron in the house. Vox Wave is doing a community cookout and promoting and supporting domestic peace. We're getting away from that domestic violence and promoting men for domestic peace. Men, stand up. Take a stand, brothers. Regardless of what color you are, regardless of what religion you are, men have to take a stand because we have too many children, too many women, and other men that are being abused in systems, in institutions, not just at home, not just in poor families, in wealthy families, in schools, in churches, in after school and organized youth programs. It's got to stop because it's a sickness that has prevailed our community so much that you can even have a president that would mock a woman who came forward and testified, even if what she said was not completely valid or true. Knowing the amount of impact her testimony had on millions of women. The hotline for abuse was the highest ever after her testimony, the national hotline. So that lets you know that millions of people were being, women and men who had been sexually abused, were affected by that. And you, for the right of to pump up your base, would come out and make that kind of shout and mock that woman? That's totally inappropriate. Called out by his own Republicans. So, bottom line, hey, we got to stand up, brothers. Stand up. Men for domestic peace. That's right. Men aiming high. What's up? Peace and love. Peace in the morning, baby. Let's crank it up. Hey, I'm going to bring some folks on to join us. But you know what time it is. It's Funky Friday. What's up, Lewis Parker? Hey, Roosevelt Jackson, where's your next movie, brother? We need you on the show talking about it. Come on, y'all. Ow.
Special dedication going out to my man Snake. Big brother Rick and friends. Talk to me, shake it. One more time now. Sweet Teresa, good to see ya. West Nisi. Special dedication going out to Sweet Cherry. Well, you Cherry and also Cookie. You wanna play hooky? Also my man Donald and friends. They all came to blend. Talk to me, sweet. Wanna see us boogie? You wanna play hooky? You got to go find Cookie. She'll let you spend your money. You don't get no noogie. Is that right, Cookie? One more time for Big Ted and also Don and Rob from Norfolk State. Sometimes they gon' go, they just can't wait.
Welcome to the Peace of the Morning Show. This is Darius Stanton. We are live on VoxWave.com. I got my brother. He's sideways on the screen. What's up, brother? Brother Hakeem, what's going on, brother? You sideways. It's not you. It's you gotta maybe you turn your screen. Yeah, so that's how it's coming over, somewhat sideways right now. There you go. That bingo. That's it. There you go. There you go. My brother, Haki Shamor Ami. How are you, my brother? Well, look, first of all, I want to thank you, brother, for the work that you're doing in our communities throughout the state of Maryland, throughout the country. A big promoter of the Power Networking Conference of our dear brother, Dr. George Frazier. You, Les Brown, and Dr. Frazier wrote a book together. The name of that book is Excellent. Mission Unstoppable. So check out the brother's book, Haki Shakur Ami. He's also an actor. He's also a broadcaster on a number of shows. He's a frequent contributor and also guest host and anchor on our brother in Baltimore, WOLB. Excuse me. His show, you know, so that's former House of Delegates, Larry Young. That's right, over at WLOLB. So the brother's doing a lot of positive work. Also a member of the 2030 Black Agenda, a member of the Central Committee in Baltimore, out there, and our good sister, Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam, who is the super senator who focused, I believe, passed more bills than any senator in the past House member of House of Delegates last year, with almost 13 bills passed in one session. So this sister's working. She's fighting to continue to serve you, and she's putting bills out there and passing legislation that actually impacts our communities for the good. So shout out to Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam. She's having an event on October 18th. Please support her. But Brother Haki, what's going on, man, in your world? You know, we're talking right now about 3 issues I want to run by you real quick, if I could get your comment on. The first one is the enormous amount of positive energy around this upcoming midterm election. You know, how people are coming together from all types of backgrounds to stand up to what has been nothing short of a negative campaign throughout the country that's supporting this Make America Great Again, that separated children from their families, that are immigrants, that put taxes on middle class but remove taxes on the upper class, who already had the tax structure is already set up for business. So you didn't need to give businesses any additional windfall or break, but we did. Put over $700 billion in the budget this year and plan to increase that next year for the military, when we already have the most funded and powerful military in the world. And the military that's taking place right now, I mean, the instances of terrorism right now are coming from our own systems, domestic terrorism. So in light of that, what are you seeing in terms of the groundswell of movement and energy with regard to people getting ready to challenge this upcoming midterm?
Well, certainly, thank you for the opportunity, Darryl. Well, I've been working strategically on different fronts. I mean, one thing that I have learned, after the election from, since President Obama was no longer able to serve, is that there has been a white bashing, if you will, in terms of levels of hostility and what many in the Western civilization are referring to as the death of the West. Actually, there was a book I read, Pat Buchanan's book, you have death in the West, death on how the right went wrong, and they talk about exactly and about what Trump has tapped into this angry white male syndrome. And what's interesting, I just got finished reading Omarosa's book.
Yeah, sit back,
did a book review on that.
Sit back for me so we can see your full view.
Say again?
Sit back so I can see your full. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So, copy. We just did a book review with the Congressman Elijah Cummings' wife on Omarosa's book, and she talks about some of the extreme elements within the Trump administration, such as Stephen Miller, and prior to that,
Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon.
Right.
Yes. And so, Steve Miller is still there with his, some say he wrote the recent speech that President Trump gave at the UN. Except some said that it sounds like his global America First type of policy. So one thing I have to realize, although we look at these issues and we can talk about them, we can be educated on them, but understanding our power, of course, people are protesting now. Brett Kavanaugh, shall I say, serenade or his selection, but we have to really recognize our power as Black people in this society, and I believe that America is still racialized, and they create policies based upon race, even if it's not said. So with that being said, I think that there are some local and regional things that we can do, certainly on a local level, but also on a state level, to curtail that federal power. So it's up to us to be astute, to be aware, create these partners to support candidates that can minimize that influence, shall I say.
So what do you think about Judge Kavanaugh? His most recent attempt to run, to be named Supreme Court judge. Do you think that should be pushed forward?
Well, objectively speaking, some people do things in their younger life.
That's right.
The thing is to own up. Own up to what you did. There's a way. And I wasn't there, but I do believe you don't have to lie about your past. Now there are some extreme cases that you just be like, this was like a real crime, So that is certainly a question. Can someone see? And that's the thing with white male supremacy. Where white males can do things in their past, that other ethnic groups, certainly black men, are not able to get away with. But ultimately, when you're talking about a member of the Supreme Court that's going to be judging other people, based upon their past, it's like, well, what gives you any moral authority, right?
That's right.
Moral authority to, yeah. So again, on the Supreme Court, again, you gotta. Some people, you have to be, and certainly in college too. That's the different case. High school, 16, 17. We would hope that your parents would have some control over you, but when you're in college acting like you just escaped from, a zoo and getting drunk and out of control, that's the irresponsible act. You're an adult, actually. You feel me? You 18, 19, you're an adult. So yeah. So if those are the cases, I don't think we should have people like that
serving on our Supreme Court. That's right. So as we shift shift off the air, I wanted to just close on this for me. Tell me what you think men should do in terms of taking a stand to stop the amount of abuse sexually, and I know women are involved in sexual abuse as well, but predominantly men are in control and still in power. The majority of males are still heads of Fortune 500 companies, so they control the boards, and even if it's a female CEO, the board is still predominantly male, predominantly white male. But even in black communities, in the leadership roles, it's still males. So we recognize that men have a significant role to play in stopping this abuse-crazed society we live in. What do you recommend men do to take a stand to stop domestic violence and abuse of children, women, and other men?
Well, thank you for bringing that up. And, I've been really talking about this over, the past 2 weeks. Being someone who personally have never demonstrated any, of these acts, or, I can sit back and say no woman will ever accuse me of anything. Though here's, and speaking of elected officials, being on the Central Committee, there was a issue in the state legislature rather recently about a legislator in Baltimore, a black male who had some issues, and not to go that far into that, but we have to, each case, I believe, objectively speaking, being a fair black man, each case is going to be taken on a case-by-case basis. But what I do personally in my own life, is certainly to speak out against certain types of behaviors.
So number one, you want to speak out. You want to speak out, number one.
Will do. Thank you. Sorry. I speak out against, some of these questionable behaviors, but also I don't like allow for some men to speak a certain way in my presence.
Right.
You know.
So number 2 is take a stand. If you see something, do something.
Right. Absolutely. And that's where, you know, sometimes the little small checks, you know, even in the workplace.
In the workplace,
you know,
on the street.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
give me one more. What would your third detail be? What would your third tip be to men to get involved? The number 1 is to take a stand. So that means communicate, talk about it, promote positive communication and treatment of women. Number 2, if you see something, do something. Don't just stand by and watch a man beat a woman. At least call the police if you don't want to get involved yourself, because you may be concerned with losing your life because that has happened. You know, but you see something, do something. And then number 3, what would your third tip be to men?
Well, I'll say support a sister organization that is working towards, you know, the healing and transformation and awareness.
Excellent.
Of this issue. For instance, the you know, Baltimore Teacher of the Year, you know, LaQuisha Hall in Baltimore. I'm going to be interviewing her real soon, you know, and she, you know, is quite public about her molestation from a pastor. And so, you know, sometimes you just got to partner with sisters that, you know, and let them know that there are decent brothers, men out here that are concerned about this issue, and we're here to support them. So I just say offer some support this month to some of the sisters.
There you go. This has been our good brother Haki Shakur Ami. Thank you so much, brother, for being on the show. Thank you for supporting the 2030 Black Agenda. His 3 tips to brothers to make sure that we stay focused and away from domestic violence. 1 is to say something, speak up. Speak up. Number 2, stand up. You see something, do something. Don't just allow abuse to take place and you not take a stand. And 3rd, but not least, get involved and support an organization that's already out there doing it. Support a women's organization. Give them some support. And I'm going to add the 4th is create positive environments in your home so you're modeling that behavior. And number 5, if you've been abused or you abused somebody already, listen to me clearly now. If you've been abused, yourself as a man, and you abuse somebody else, or you witnessed abuse, go get mental health treatment to break that cycle.
Thank you.
Go get mental health treatment to break that cycle. If you've been abused as a man, sexually, emotionally, physically, or otherwise, if you abused someone else, sexually, physically, emotionally, or otherwise, go get help. So thank you, brother, for joining the show, man. I appreciate you. We're going to actually, if you just drop off your Facebook, that allows us to keep rolling, then come back on so you can be a part of the show. That's Haki Shakur Ami, our good brother out of Baltimore City, working all over the state of Maryland, doing his thing. Shout out for him. It's Funky Friday. We're in the studio. We got to wrap it up in a minute. But before we roll, we work to get our brother Stephen Tillett to talk about ACT. Shout out to Tony Strong. If anybody knows her, let her know that we shouted her out this morning at the Peace in the Morning show for the excellent job that she did bringing that crowd together and getting the people energized last night in the ACT. Anne Arundel County coming together, working to make sure that our people are not looking at parties, not looking at religions, but looking at the issues and who's doing something about it if you're in political office. The state's attorney was there, the county executive was there, and a number of other political candidates running for the office in Anne Arundel County, and over 1,000 people showed up to hear what they had to say and then to determine who they're going to vote for as a block. Not as a black block, not as a white block, not as a rich block, not as a poor block, but 1,000 votes, plus all the people they're tied to. That's power. And it was powerful in that room last night. And as I said, our topic for today's show, the positive storm is coming to politics. 240-719-2560. You can call us. Check us out on YouTube. Right now, VoxWave in the studio. It's Funky Friday. Crank it up, and we're going to roll out with one more guest, and then we out of here so we can pump it up. That's right, baby. Funky Friday, live right here on VoxWave.com with Darius A. Stanton and the Peace in the Morning Show. You know what time it is. Funky Friday, baby. Hey, Monica Johnson, Melissa Crowner, Peace in the Morning, baby. How you doing this morning? Ow. I break it on down. Break it on down. That's right, Peace in the Morning. Welcome to the Darius A. Stanton Peace in the Morning Show. We funked it live on Funky Friday. Thank you for our good engineer, DJ Ron in the house. Ron Johnson, thank you, my brother. Hey, listen, thank you, Hakeem, for joining us this morning, talking about the Supreme Court judge hearing and also issues around domestic violence. We gave 5 points for men to take a stand to do to support domestic peace in the home. Number 1 was to make sure that we speak out. When you in boardrooms, in management, in other positions, speak out. Promote, get out on the mic wherever you are in your church, speak out against it. Number 2, stand up. Take a stand. If you see it taking place, if you know it's happening, call the police, get involved, be there, but do something that gets you involved to make sure that that domestic violence stops. Number 3, support an organization. Support an organization that's involved. There are some events coming up in Annapolis, Maryland, next Saturday at Annapolis, Maryland at Truxton Park. Ranisha, there will be a special tribute to annual domestic violence walk and celebration, Truxton Park next Saturday. Also on the 18th, I believe it is, there's another event taking place in Annapolis, Maryland, dealing with domestic violence. Give us a call, 240-719-2560. Hit us up on Facebook Live and we'll definitely let you know about those events. I wanted to bring to your attention one more piece of positive news, though, before we got out the door. And it is around a young brother in Wisconsin, 19-year-old Kalen Haywood Jr., 19 years old. Kalen, K-A-L-A-N, Haywood Jr. will make history as the youngest state legislator in the state of Wisconsin. And guess what? The brother just happens to be black. That's right. He said at 8 years old, he wanted to run for office since he was 8. He saw Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett attend a groundbreaking of a building project by Haywood's family real estate business. And after that, he was hooked. And now at 19 years old, this brother, Kalen Haywood Jr., is now going to be the youngest state legislator ever in the state of Wisconsin, and he happens to be an African-American male. There's a sister running for orphan court judge in Anne Arundel County named Vicki Gibson. Support her campaign. I believe Gibson for Judge. That's Gipson for judge.org. Check that out. Remember, I mentioned Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam in Baltimore City and Baltimore County running. She's having an event on October 18th. She needs your support. And I want to hone in on a particular situation. You know, Baltimore City was just named the most violent city in the country. And I want you to share this statistic. And there are people questioning about what's happening, what the police is doing. We already know that in a number of instances, police departments have failed us. In particular, when the Justice Department has found that they were planting guns on people, toy guns. They found that they were arresting people, trumped up charges, planting drugs, all kinds of things. There's a case going on right now in Dallas where the police officer shot the young man. It was shown on the videotape 16 times. And the guy was walking away. He had a knife in his hand, but he was walking the other direction. It was shown that they lied on the report. The officer who did the shooting, as well as the officers who were there on the scene, some of them lied, falsified the report, and they're waiting on the verdict right now. Very tense situation. But I want to go to the core of the violence because we're talking about the homicides that are taking place in Baltimore City. And you hear about police, and you hear about what's the mayor doing. I want to give Mayor Pugh my support and let her know, that I appreciate the work and the focus that she's putting on it. A lot of people are not pleased with the job that she's doing, but a lot of people are. The question, though, is what can really impact it? What are you doing? What is your solution? Now, ceasefire, the ceasefire movement that was put together by the brothers and sisters in Baltimore went a number of days where there were no homicides, in the city. I think it was almost up to 13, 14, maybe extended even to 15 days. No homicides. That was led by people in the city. That was led by the residents and supported by the mayor's office and the police and other people. But I want to tell you something that we don't talk about. And if you want something to change, you got to be involved. You got to stand up. But you got to also make some sacrifices. And one of the key contributors to violence is alcohol. There are studies all over the country that have been done that show where there are alcohol outlets, there are homicides. A direct correlation. In the same cities where there's alcohol, where there's a lot of killings taking place, where there are very few alcohol distribution sites or liquor stores, very few homicides. Alcohol also has lead in it. Baltimore City deals with lead poisoning, one of the worst in the country. So you have a combination of lead and alcohol, and then you have alcohol fetal syndrome, which is just like crack babies. So now you have people who are being raised, the sperm and the egg of the mother and the father who are bringing this child into the world are already making the child predisposed to being violent by drinking alcohol before and after, over-intoxicating the sperm and the egg, so the baby becomes not a crack baby but a drunk baby. They become depressed, more inclined to be depressed, more inclined to be violent, more inclined to have HD, hypertension, hyperdeficit, what is hyperattention deficit disorder. So, you know, when you think about these challenges that we're faced with as a result of that, and Baltimore City has over 325 liquor licenses over the legal limit. Now, the former mayor, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, to her credit, it was 500 liquor licenses over the legal limit, and they cut it back to 350, 375, something like that. But there's still 350 over the legal limit. So when we know that, we need to have people focusing on dealing with the alcoholism, removing these alcohol outlets from our communities, and dealing with the mental health of our community. Stop treating this like we're going to lock people up. That's not changing anything. You just heard me, Baltimore City has the mother in jail, the father in jail, and the son in baby booking, juvenile detention center, what they call baby booking on the wire. The family's being destroyed. Alcoholism is at the key. Alcohol is at the crux of that. Lead poison is at the crux of that. And then when you add the fact that they're food deserts where they're not eating fresh vegetables, but they're eating genetically modified foods, canned foods, food from the carry-out, you know, fast foods, that's what's feeding them. So the body is highly acidic. The amount of abuse and neglect, you got to deal with the mental health. So my challenge to you all is come up with the solutions. Tons of blame, tons of places to point fingers. What is your solution? What are you doing to help young people get away from that violence? What are you doing to stop all them liquor stores in the community? And they happen to be in the black community. Don't take my word for it. Do the research. Don't forget November 9th and 10th. Tickets are on sale now for the Business Over Breakfast, Dr. Randall Pinkett, for the Legislative Black Caucus Weekend. That Saturday evening, April Ryan will be the speaker at the gala at Maryland Live, and yours truly, Darius A. Stanton, will be the Power Luncheon speaker of conference workshops dealing with the cannabis business, how to get your business financed, education, environment, affordable housing. All of these issues will be on the table on November 9th in Annapolis at the Legislative Black Caucus Conference. So look, I appreciate you joining us here on the Peace in the Morning show. We're going down to Hamlet, North Carolina to the Coal Train Festival, put together by Gerard Morrison down there in Hamlet, North Carolina. So if you want to see us, come on out and check us out at Hamlet, North Carolina. It starts at 12 o'clock tomorrow. So if you're in North Carolina, come on and support that brother, one of the greatest horn players ever to live, John Coltrane. This is Darius A. Stanton saying peace in the morning. We're going to roll out with Queen Ayasudabe's song, He's After You. Make sure you register to vote. 25. Write your list of 25 people. 25 people down that you're going to get to go register to vote. And not only register to vote, but also get out there and vote on Election Day. This is Darius A. Stanton saying peace in the morning.